through YouTube. Don't share this link. This is the link Pete learned that one time.
Yeah.
You want to share the link from YouTube, not the link from the StreamYard, because there's welcome. Anybody can join us.
I'm not
Including a drunk Brewhand Luke.
Access the camera. I'm not doing any of that stuff.
Let's see here. Channel. All right. We got live.
All right. I just got the notice it's live. So
and I'm going right here to the Tweety Twatter. Boom. And then pop. And then you're going to love the picture. That's just for you. On that one. And all right. Where is... Oh, it didn't. Oh, God. Tweet already, would you? There we go. Beautiful. Yeah, that picture is just glorious. We got Rockin' and Rollin' Hank.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, I haven't seen him in a while. Been seeing his wife a lot. Hope he's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Hope he didn't fall off the ladder with the leaves or something.
Oh, God, he's
beautiful. All right, cool. All right, so everybody got tweeted out or retweeted.
Yeah.
We got the real comment section. We got FU Brian. Lucky Spags is with us, and here we go. All right, let's get this brandy going. We'll get that low. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's time for The Tainted Glove, starring your favorite man of questionable character, Aloha Mr. Hand.
Hey, bud, let's party.
And the Holy Reverend K-Fids himself. It's go time, so grab a beer, grab a bite, and settle in. It's time for The Tainted Glove.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever you're choosing to listen to this. Welcome to Season 2 of The Tainted Glove. I am your host, Aloha Mr. Hand, and today is January 22nd, 2023. It is a good day and a sad day at the same time. It is a good day because we have a special guest with us, the one, the only, Cavzilla. That's right, Mailman Jack is with us. And with that, K-Fids, take it away.
We do have the great Cafid one joining us tonight here on the podcast. We appreciate you guys joining us. This is our first show of 2023. We've been hibernating, if you guys want to call it that. I haven't shaved my back in weeks, and Pete still hasn't shaved his head. So we are ready to rock. We welcome you guys. We're so thankful to see you guys all healthy and here in 2023, and we're stoked for before tonight's podcast, we had a State of the Taint meeting with the rest of the guys from the Tainted Glove Network, and we're really excited about 2023 and all the great things that we have on the horizon as we ride the coattails of our other two really rad podcasts on our network as the two old guys. But thanks again for tuning in tonight, and we're really excited. Jack, so stoked to have you here. We've been, we really haven't done a lot of, and this is something what Pete and I obviously will delve into too, but we haven't really done a ton of guests on our show over the course of our first year and some change. And we're looking to bring in now, guests. It's time. I think we both decided that we talk a lot and we agree a lot and way too frequently. And so it's nice to bring in some differing viewpoints and bring in some random weirdos. And we figured, while Man Jack's not a weirdo by any means, we're gonna keep it weird. We're gonna keep it weird. So thank you guys for tuning in. We're really stoked. So I guess let's get right
into it. And Mailman Jack does have some weird people on his route. One who we will discuss later.
Yes, correct.
Hey guys, Happy New Year.
You're right. So bringing us to, we got Mailman Jack. So just as you guys know, he's America's favorite +1. He throws bat. He throws lefty.
That's right.
Friday, loves empty calories. Also, Pizza Fridays are where he gets all of his Twitter likes, unless he's showing pictures of his calves.
Pizza whore.
He's as reliable as the sun setting and sun rising through sleet, snow, and or uphill both ways pathways.
Mhm.
But barefoot in the snow or the rain and the snowy rain. But we're really stoked to have our guy, Mailman Jack, a guy, one of our favorite people in the entire world, not just on Twitter, but just in general. Someone that Pete and I are happy to have a nice little text thread with where we talk old people stuff that are not privy to those of you that are under the age of 25. You won't get it. Sorry about that.
You know, bands that existed in the 80s.
Did you guys see that Pink Floyd put a rainbow in its profile picture?
Oh my God.
Woke shit. Oh, wait.
About that.
Forgot about the album cover. Never mind about the 50-year-old album. But hey. But we're super stoked. So,
Who are you guys?
Jack, coming on. We appreciate it. We know your time is valuable too. And we appreciate you coming on, man. So welcome to the show. Welcome to 2023.
Hey, thanks. Anytime. This is a lot of fun. Whatever I could do to help out or, get some stuff off my chest, whatever. It's all good.
Yeah. And that's why you're the number 3 mailman in the United States of America, behind Newman and Cliff Clavin.
Nah, switch those two.
Okay.
Still debatable.
So Cliff is number 1?
Cliff is number 1.
Okay.
The trivia knowledge alone is worth number 1 status. And mustache. So
yeah.
But do they have your calves?
Reliable.
Don't have your calves.
No, that's a gift from God himself. I always kid around. I have a perfect build from the knee down.
You're well endowed, if you will, from the knee down. Not really from the waist down, maybe, but maybe.
No, from the bottom of the knee down.
Yeah.
We're so stoked to have you on, but we got a lot to get into tonight. But before we get into all the sports and the sillies, we do want to take a second real quick, and it's actually perfectly fitting that Jack's on with us too, because Jack is also someone he's someone that's been privy to Chicago, especially radio culture, music culture, and how it's evolved over the years. And today, the Chicago community lost a good one in Lynn Bramer and the longtime WXRT host. You saw the tributes all over social media. I mean, if you want to talk to somebody that's young in radio, someone that's like my age or our age in radio, at some point he was somewhat influential and either inspiring or getting them jobs in the first place. This is someone that's, I know friend of the show, my friend, Justin Roman, for example, today, he's known Lynn for a long period of time too. I mean, he was a B96 and even in the, late 90s, early 2000s as a 90s, as drive time host. And so again, all this stuff, the sad, his prostate cancer, I know he had posted something back in July that he was going to continue the fight, but today he decided that today was time to go home. So, sad loss, and we our hearts go out to his family and everybody that's been impacted in his life, and with you guys especially. Let's why don't you guys real quick, since we we got a couple seconds here, why don't you guys tell us what Lynn meant to you guys, and maybe the outreach or the touch or the moments that he spoke to you guys across the airwaves.
I think Jack had much more interaction with him than I did, so all I'll say is this real quick. Having met him a few times, a great guy. The moniker he had about being everybody's best friend is pretty accurate, because he was very outgoing, when you had a conversation with him, he cared more about how are you doing. It wasn't, let me tell you, I'm number 1 in the ratings book or any of that. No, it was more about how are you? Are you having a good time? Do you like this artist? Whatever it may be. That was always my impression of him. Aside from the fact that he was a Cub fan, I loved listening to him.
Not a bad quality. And Jack, I know you got some stories to tell. You were telling us a little bit before we got on the air too. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about your experience with it
was just so, I don't know. Like Pete said, he's been on the radio forever, and our kids kind of grew up with us, with me making them listen to it. Him and stuff. And And I met him a few years ago. Like, I mean, more than just like seeing him at a concert or something. Like, my brother-in-law won those tickets to see that Pete Townsend show. And we literally hung out with him for a couple hours before the show. And he was so damn nice to us. It was unbelievable. And we kind of built this this little relationship with him. And it was weird. He's such a nice guy. You know, you meet people and they're nice. And then you meet some people and you're like, oh, you're nice. You're really nice. You know, this is genuine. And it just kind of hit in a weird way. You know, he was battling cancer, and I was telling you guys a while back, like most of us, I caught COVID, and I tweeted about it, and he like messages me, "Hey Jack, how you doing?" And I'm like, dude, he's got a lot more problems than I do. You know, I'll be okay. You take care of yourself. And he's just like, I'm hanging in there. You know, it's just to use a word that's not really. He was a mensch. He was just I don't know. It was just, you know, like you said, he was our best friend in the whole world. It's really, you know, just.
And I have to talk about one of my favorite Lynn Bramer moments. And when Cheap Trick played the Metro, and they did, like, each night was a different album. They did In Color, they did Cheap Trick, they did Budokan, and what was the other one? I can't think of the fourth one because there were four of them they did. Dream Police?
Dream Police, probably, yeah.
Yeah. One night he got up and he did the DJ part of On the Radio, which you can actually hear on XRT Volume 4, I believe it is on there, where he does the DJ part. It is incredible. You know, if you want to pay tribute to him, go listen to that, because it will bring a smile to your face when you listen to it.
Or even that show that was just on The Bear that that one episode where his voice led in the episode. We're watching it and I'm like, hey, there's Lynn. All right. I was so happy that he popped up on there. I was ecstatic.
Yeah.
And that's, and the thing about, would you say this too, guys, about Chicago, when you get a, sorry, I just did that. You
getting a little reverb there.
Yeah, that was a little weird. You get these long time media voices, these writers, like Mike Royko, these individuals that we kind of got familiar with, to the point, you say he's your best friend. Why? Because he's so familiar. Like, why? Yep, and he was there. Yep. And Chicago. This is the best part, I think, about living or being a part of a large media market, is that. Especially around that transitional time, he came at the right time. He got to transition from regular radio into the internet era and into the podcast era. And, that's a special time. That's been a special time, I think, for just the industry as a whole. And I think that's the really cool part about the Chicago, just being about like a place like Chicago, is guys like Lynn become as familiar as family over the course of, years of just tuning in. When you're in like here in Vegas, like there's a couple that kind of have familiarity, but there's no Lynn here. I mean, the closest we have is what is it? David Mahoney in the mornings, and it's a morning show, and they're great, but they've only been here for like 7 years. That's not a long enough time to like feel that familiar. In Chicago, you get these guys that have been around for, 20, 30 years or longer. In his case, you feel so familiar that it's like it's like a warm cup of coffee with a friend in the mornings or in the afternoons or anytime that you hear them pop up.
True. You nailed it. It was just, I don't know.
And the most amazing thing about it is, here's a guy who was going through what he went through, but he always had the same tagline: "It's great to be alive." And even when he was on the radio, when he came back, like, what, a month or so ago?
About, yeah.
you could hear, unfortunately, you could hear in his voice the decline, you
Right.
know, and
Just
you're going, please, God, no, stop. Don't let this happen. And, and I will say one other thing about Lynn Bramer. Yes, he was a Cub fan, but Lynn's bins, he did one the day before game one of the 2005 World Series. That was one of the most moving things I've ever heard, talking about the World Series. And he intercut, uh, you know, Jack Bucks, we'll see you tomorrow night. Vince Scully's, she is gone. You can't believe what you saw. And then Buckner with the ball through his legs, talking about the White Sox winning the world, going to the World Series. I have it on my iPhone, actually, and I'm going to try to find a way I can get it out so everybody can hear it, because it's incredibly moving. And it's just, you sit there and go, wow, this guy,
he got it.
He got it. He was a master with words.
Exactly. Much better than I am right now. I can barely string 3 words together.
Right.
I can't even say.
Lynn,
I can't even call Aaron Judge. I call him Mike Judge. So we're there.
Mike Judge.
Or Chuck Allen. I keep calling him Jared Allen. I don't even.
Hey, Mike Judge. I think Mike Judge was more talented than Aaron Judge. Mike Judge gave us a Beavis and Butthead. Damn it. and Hank Hill.
Oh,
don't forget Hank Hill.
Hank, you failed English. You speak English. God, that's a good one. That's another great Hank. Speaking of great Hanks.
But Lynn, we love you. Godspeed, my man. Hopefully you're in a much better place.
Cheers.
Cheers.
See you soon. Well, not soon, but you know.
Hear you soon. Yeah.
In the span of the existence soon.
Yes.
All right. Well, with that, let's go ahead and transition. Now, obviously, we've heard some Cubs slander jokes, in spite of being Cub fans, things of these nature. You know what that means? That means I'm outnumbered tonight, because yes, if you guys are not familiar, if you're a Cub fan and you're paying attention, you're watching, or listening to our show this week, Mailman Jack is a Sox fan. He's a well-known personality on White Sox Twitter, otherwise known as the hashtag WST. He is a 108 tournament force to be reckoned with, because he eats donuts like I've never seen someone eat in the morning. He does the purest content ever. Everyone else is like shitting on each other and being mean, and Jack's eating, Krispy Kreme
oats.
Maybe get himself an everything bagel with like extra schmear to showcase everything. And so that means he's a White Sox fan, though. And so I would be remiss if we didn't jump right into that discussion. We'll table Cubs discussions for when I bring in some superior numbers over Pete and make Pete force Pete there. But you guys know I don't ever have a problem talking White Sox baseball because it's enjoyable. But we're here at the off season. There's been a lot of it's now gotten to that point where everyone's digging out of the trash bins for minor league contracts. So we really are pretty close to the end of this off season. We're less than a month away, I think, from pitchers and catchers reporting. So for you guys, we'll get into Jack too. We'll get you guys. I'd like to get your opinion though. As a fan, Jack, what are you thinking about when you look at this offseason for the White Sox and obviously what they already had? Where are you as a fan right now as far as everything?
We were gypped out of. I probably wouldn't have gone, but the whole Sox Fest thing, and then I think everyone was kind of ready. We were bummed out that Jose Abreu went left. I mean, he got a better deal. He left as a free agent, but I think we're ready. We're ready to grasp onto something because they really should be better. That little pitching video came out the other day, Pete, of Giolito.
Lucas Giolito, yes,
right. And I think everybody just we needed it, and people are critiquing his, he's only throwing 89. Really? How about that leg whip? Just like Dylan Cease, and I think we just needed something. I've learned to try to lean toward optimism. I'm not going to fret over somebody that left or somebody they didn't go after. Let's be optimistic. And like our friend, Beef Wolf always says, if we could just stay healthy, that's their number one thing.
Hope.
Our plan is just stay healthy. If Eloy could just play 150 games this year, we'll come close to that 74 homers.
Oh, Chirizi, you gotta love him.
Right. So I'm choosing optimism. I mean, they really have a good team, and apparently, like the projections think so too, that they should win the division. Correct?
Yeah, that's what currently.
It's a lot of the projections are neck and neck with Cleveland.
Exactly, but I mean, yeah. I'm Lance Lynn. Let's keep that knee healthy, and Gio. I hope he got rid of that extra weight he tried to put on. He looked.
Yes, he did. He's back down to like his quote unquote fighting weight, if you will.
Okay, good.
So he lost the what was it, 28 pounds of muscle or whatever he put on last year. He lost that and went back to his pre-last year workout and training regiment.
I mean, dude, how tall is he? I mean, he's got his regular weight.
6'6", I think. Yeah.
So I mean, he's probably 230 and he looks skinny, I mean,
he looked like a house last year. He looked like a brick wall.
He really did. But I just, they had a gut between Cease, Lynn, Giolito. If the three of them could just pretty much make all their starts, they got it. I mean, I don't mean to sound like a cocky person. I'm just choosing optimism.
And can we also say, we also hope that Liam Hendricks can get better soon. That was definitely another kick in the sack, if you will, when that news came out. So we're also pulling for you, Liam. And just a shameless plug, Obvious Shirts is selling Liam Strong t-shirts and hoodies. All money being donated to cancer research. So please go out to Obvious Shirts if you're so inclined and, pick up a shirt, pick up a Liam Strong shirt, a Cancer Sucks shirt, because you're also talking to someone who's lost other family members to cancer too. So it's a cause near and dear to me. So I went out, I was all over Obvious Shirts saying, when are you coming out with these? Let's go. And they released them, I want to say Thursday. So I probably spent a little more than I should have, but it's worth it. All
right. I'll have to look that up because my mother passed from cancer years ago myself. I mean, it
might as well. Yeah. Lost a mother and a sister to cancer. So yes.
It hits everybody. It doesn't discriminate. Yeah. Let's
see.
Yep.
All right, Guy.
We got cheered up. Yeah.
Brief reminder to all of us of our age, as you reach our age, make sure that you're going out and getting your colonoscopy. Make sure you get those PSA checks. Make sure you get that finger up the butthole, because you know what?
Yes.
Doing the stink sometimes might keep you around for about another 15, 20, 30, 40 years. So, you know what? Yeah, just think Fletch, okay? Just think Fletch the whole time. Sing Moon River. Stick around.
Moon River.
Preemptive medicine is much better than defensive medicine. And
the Moon River technique is a million times worse than the actual colonoscopy. They knock you out for that.
Whole fist there, doc.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But as far as the White Sox,
I was gonna say you brought up Dylan Cease, or not Dylan Cease, Lucas Giolito. We broke that down on the Peter Wheels and Ivy this week. His delivery is a little bit altered as well. He's eliminated some of the quirkiness. His that left arm tuck is much less pronounced. Yeah, he doesn't look like he's got a broken chicken wing anymore. He's actually getting it out from his chest too, so he's getting away from his body a little bit, and he's changed his arm slot. And I think that these are things that might look a little bit more accentuated because he's lost some of that weight too. He went from beefing up to long muscle yoga style, basically. So he went from being, Ben Affleck's Batman to being the Robert Pattinson Batman instead, where he's thinner, leaner, which is, I think
more flexible. Yeah.
And these guys do. And this is something that Chris Bryant, even, I was talking, we've been talking about his workout. Me and his dad were just like last week where he was, it's a different workout. As you get into your 30s, you have a different workout as a professional athlete, because now you're not just fighting off, you're not trying to add just strength, but you're also trying to fight off father time. And there's a very different workout that goes into being someone on the other side of 30 than there is. And the same thing I think goes for pitchers. They've got to figure out ways to stay sharp, but keep their body working over the long haul. And they go to, sometimes they inadvertently go to heavier weights and lower reps. In Chris's case, he's doing upkeep stuff, which is it's for longevity. And so he's doing heavier weights now. He's never done heavy weights in his life. He always does lower weights, lots of reps. He likes to keep those long KB muscles, where he's got the arm length of an orangutan. And so now you gotta beef up a little bit. That's why you see these guys in the later parts of their career, they do look bigger. It's not, you don't want them to look like Barry Bonds where their head looks like the size of, a blimp, but you do want them to beef up and have that, because over the course of 162 games, you lose weight. You lose it because of the grind.
Yeah.
The grind sucks it out of you. If you're a young pup, it's no big deal. You just rehydrate. I mean, you go to freaking McDonald's and you get it right back. But as you get older, those guys, they have to have enough in the tank before they start the season. And I think he tried that last year and it didn't work. And I think he's trying something which I think is really good. I think it's more of a holistic approach. And I think that helps him change his delivery. I think you're going to see a big season from Lucas Giolito this year. I think him and Cease are going to play top this every single start. And that'll probably pull in the rest of the pitching staff, because that doesn't include Big Righty. Lance Lynn. He's going to be like, wait, stop leaving me out, assholes. I'm in this too. And you pull that out of Lance Lynn. And competition breeds excellence. And if these guys start competing to play top this together, you have a top three in the rotation, and then obviously not too bad, on the second, a little bit below her, with Clevenger, who's a blast. And then you have, what's his name?
Kopech.
Michael Kopech, who might have to flip around a little bit and start less and give way to a couple spot starts from like your long reliever guys, just to kind of keep him upkeep, because he's kind of a health question mark all the time.
That's going to be Clevenger too.
Yeah, Clevenger too. But
Clevenger, it works out well in April, because they can skip a Clevenger start here and there in April with the way the schedule breaks down as far as off days. But when you start getting into the grind, you're going to have to pay attention to that, because it wouldn't surprise me, to your point, to see one spin through the rotation, Kopech skipped. The next spin through the rotation, Clevenger skipped. I could see that, very much, especially if you get one of those 20 games in a row heaters going or something like that.
Now,
that's when I could see it happening.
You read your horse.
How many games did Clevenger start last year?
Not many.
No,
actually 20, I think.
He started last year. It was 23 games, 23 starts.
Yeah.
Or 22 starts, one relief appearance.
Right.
Do 114 innings. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's still probably got about 60 innings to top on that one too, I think. So I think you're looking at, maybe if it's a good season for Clev, you're probably looking at 34 starts. I think that would be fair. Maybe give him like 10 or 12 more starts.
I think that's asking a lot.
You think so? So maybe keep it at 30 starts or 28 starts?
I think that's asking a lot.
Even 28?
I would say 25, to be honest with you.
So just 3 more starts.
I would say 25.
Okay, that works. I'm asking a lot, obviously.
Yeah.
I demand more.
I 25. Let's get 25 out of at least 5 out of.
Yeah, that work. I mean, you get 25, you get maybe 22 out of Kopech, and you get your hosses. Your big three carry you. That's what happened. I mean, those are 3 horses that could very well on any given season be a number 1, and you have 3 potential number 1s, and then a number 3, and then a number 5. Like that's a fantastic stable to have. Plus, you have your long relief guys that can come in, on a spot. And I think the White Sox bullpen is no slouch. It's not pass interference. Oops.
A pitching rotation like a golf score. I'll say in 2005, they probably had mostly 2s and maybe a 1 sort of and a 3. The lower the score possible. I'll take 5 2s.
Yeah, absolutely.
3, that's great. Give it to me.
And
I'll do it.
And in all honesty, how many true number ones are there in baseball? 6, maybe?
Yeah, I'd say a little bit more than a handful at tops.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you have 20 of them. Yeah.
And you look across town
I
at
mean,
the Cubs have 3 number 3s and then 2 number 5s. That's not optimal.
A 3 for a 4.
Having 3 3s and then a 5 and 2 5s. That's what the Cubs have.
Right.
My dream round at golf.
Yeah. And to Jack's point, I think, can Dylan Cease be a number 1? Yes. Is he there yet? No. He can be. The potential is there, but I think you need to see him repeat what he did last year.
Right.
Is Lucas Giolito a number 1? There's been a lot of up and down with Giolito, So can he be a number 1? I would say with Giolito, yes, he could. Is he? No. Lance Lynn, he's on the downside, so the answer is no. Kopech, you got to say no just based on track record because he can't stay healthy enough to do, to start 25 games or whatever. And then Clevenger, same thing with Clevenger. You need him out there. And our friend Baloney brings up a great point too. By the way, Baloney, look what I got. I'll be expecting that bottle of Blanton's real soon. But he said he'll be cool with some Davis Martin spot starts to keep people fresh. Yeah, they're gonna need to have some Davis Martin spot starts to keep people fresh.
Spot starts from Davis Martin. I don't want him penciled in for 2 months. No.
If he's penciled in for 2 months, they're in deep shit.
Well, the dart is good in small doses.
Yes. And then, but the question becomes now with Liam being out, and frankly, I think Liam's going to miss the entire season. To just, he's got more important things to worry about than getting back this year. Who's your closer? Do you go with Graveman? Do you put Lopez in there? Or do you put Kopech in there? I mean, what do you do?
True.
Good question.
I think Lopez needs a shot. He was bringing it. But the sad thing is they were saying that who was pushing him along. Sox just lost him. My mind is blank. He went to Cueto. The one that was bringing all the good stuff out of him,
Mm-hmm.
I just hope he gave him enough of the good stuff to just continue doing it over the phone.
Yeah. But, I don't have a problem with Lopez because I remember reading scouting reports on Lopez back when they traded for him in 2016 saying he's a possible closer candidate. The same thing was said about Kopech as well. Possible closer candidate. It might be better to put Kopech in the bullpen just for his own ability to stay healthier.
You think
if
so?
you use them in short doses, it might be better than having him try and go out for 6-7 innings.
But if you know what he is, you can
the trade-off.
Starter.
When you know what he is, though, too, you can actually plan out your bullpen usage around that as well, and that's a lot of part of the analytics team that the White Sox have now brought in. You're going to start seeing a lot more guys. Again, we're starting to learn, whether it's Joe Madden kind of coming out and talking about it in his little book, where we're starting to see that these managers don't have a ton of decisions to make. They're given these 5 guys are available today. This is what you get. Use it wisely. They basically say, here's your allowance. Here's $20. Go to go to Chuck E. Cheese. This is how many tokens you get. Now go. Don't waste it all on Dragon's Lair. And so you've got these guys that are out there doing this, and so this is where the game is at. You're going to see, if Kopech if that's what they need to do with Kopech and have him, his should be a race to 5 innings every start, and then that you're going to use a little bit deeper of a chunk with him. But you've got to hope that guys like Cease can conserve their pitch count, Giolito pitch count, Lance Lynn pitch count, so that they can go deeper into ball games and spell your bullpen on their starts. And that's the key, is just having balance. When you have guys that are done, like this is something that kills the Cubs a ton. You get a guy that throws really well. He might give up only 1 run, but he's out after the 4th because he's at 98 pitches. You're done.
That was my Jose Quintana argument for years.
That's not helpful. It's not actually helpful. Thanks for the 4 innings. Now our bullpen's burned. Like you need more consistency there, and I think that's why it's so great to have those three big dudes at that top of that rotation, you can actually afford to play around with Kopech a little bit more with his innings, because those guys on any given start could go CG shutout, like honestly. So, and that's a bullpen saver for any team. You get one that day where nobody has to get loose, or it's just a casual flat ground toss. That's how you win series, because if it's in game 1, game 3, you're out of options a little bit more. So I think
and to that, I think another thing that will help him is actually having a left fielder who is a left fielder. Signing Benintendi, I very much like signing Benintendi, and I like it because you can people are like, oh, his power's down and all that. That's fine. Get an actual outfielder out there, sitting in right field in Section 108, watching Vaughn and Sheets and those guys out in right field. At times, a lot of times, it was an adventure out there.
Well, now they're hinting at putting
Colas.
No.
Eloy out in right field. Yes. Eloy playing the occasional game in right field.
Oh my
God.
I'm just Eloy might end up in your guy's lap or something after he flies over the wall or something.
He might miss another 50 games because he tries to do something, like he falls into the net or runs into the fence or something.
It sucks about Eloy too is you want to throw the kid a bone so that he's not disinterested.
Yes.
But you don't want to throw, it's like my dog. He's got a torn ACL. If I throw him a bone, he's an idiot. I'm not saying that Eloy's an idiot, but my dog's an idiot, and he would use that torn ACL to dive at a bone because the bone, and he hurts himself. And no bad intention. He's not being a jerk, but he just gets so excited. And I think Eloy is very similar in that sense that he doesn't know how to pull back. There was it's not like the Bryce Harper pullback where you were concerned he's going to hurt himself because he's flying over the field and diving into Eloy is just like, oh, I don't know when to let a ball go. That ball's six rows deep. I'm going to still go try and catch it. And there's a net there, and there's a chair there. There's also a 14-year-old ball boy there, and rosin
and two security guards.
Tarp, 2 security guards. Clark DeCubby somehow with no pants on showed up to the ballpark, whatever, and he's crashing into everything. He's getting hurt. So you want to kind of protect him from himself, but it's going to have to happen a little bit because no ball player wants to just. I don't think there's a guy who wants to not just DH the whole season. He's going to need to be thrown a bone, and it's going to be the most terrifying days for White Sox fans.
And what scares me about him being in right field? Look at the injury that the Yankee player got, running into that power box or whatever and tearing apart his knee. That's the last thing they need. It's bad enough for him to be in left field, but right field, in my opinion, would be 10 times worse.
Agreed.
Hopefully that experiment does not last long in the spring.
Yes.
The spring training. I'm more concerned in spring training. I think that'd be worse.
Right. Because part of the thing I hope Eloy learned when he tore his tit, in Glendale.
No, yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
That was him being a hot dog.
Yeah.
Because that ball, there was no chance in hell he was catching that ball. That ball was about 3/4 of the way back on the outfield and the grass there. And he just was up there trying to be a goof and everything, and he winds up tearing it. So it's like, let's stop that right now, Oh,
George Kittle's ridiculous. I just have to interrupt real quick.
Yes.
That was the most fantastic freaking catch for a tight end. That poor dude stuck blocking because they lost some whatever the other tight end's name was. But when he gets a chance, he's a Chicago boy. He's a Bears fan. God, I would love to have him paired up with Cole Kmet. Sorry, total side note. That was insane. What a catch. And threw a guy that's basically trying to tee off. The guy missed, which is even funnier. But he's trying to catch that ball, and he's not worried about someone flying across and taking him out. That was no fear. That's awesome. Well,
do you have anything left to add on your take on the Sox Fids?
Season prediction, Jack, what do you think would be a successful but obviously World Series aside, what's a successful White Sox 2023 for you?
They got to make the playoffs again. That last, you'd want them to win the whole thing, but get back in the playoffs again. Win the division. That's the easiest way to go for the division they're in. Win the division. That would be a successful year for me. Go win the division again. And win it easily. Just come out of the gate. And I think they got it.
There you go.
Well, the one thing I'll say to that is, win the division at a minimum. A minimum. If they need to, in my opinion, they need to start fast. They need to, they can't be doing it's still early dance in June, because honestly, if they're, let's just say 5 games out come the trade deadline, I could see some people being shipped out. And I think depending on the season he has, Lucas Giolito would be number 1, because I don't think Giolito is re-signing with the White Sox. And, they're going to try. What's the best? If you keep them all season long and you're out of the playoffs, it's management, it's management malpractice, because you're talking about getting a sandwich draft pick for them if you extend a qualifying offer. I think you could do more than that. So they need to start fast, or you're going to see some people being shipped out.
Okay. All right. So as we're going to go ahead and transition over from the White Sox. I'll shut up about the Cubs. I'll keep myself out of Cubs business.
No, I just have to ask you. I just have to ask you about one thing.
Huh?
There was a tweet today with a trade proposal between the Cubs and the White Sox. So the tweet was that the Cubs trade David Bodie and Nick Madrigal trade them to the White Sox for Yoan Moncada and cash.
Like cash to take
Yoan Moncada.
Well, we give you our 180 third string third baseman and a guy that is 5'4" on stilts. So yeah, Cub fans are a little delusional. Again, we're in that stage of overvaluing your own shit players, where you think, oh yeah, I'm going to trade these 3 shitty guys. Yeah. We're going to take your MVP. Like everyone that thought that the Bears were going to trade, give the Eagles 2 first rounds for Carson Wentz last year around this time. Like,
yes.
No. Okay. Stop. But yeah, no, that was absolute donkey.
And the funny thing about it was, someone asked me what I thought. I said, well, it'd be a great deal for the Cubs. And I'm like,
yeah,
and honestly, if Rick Hahn did it, he should be fired that day.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'd be ecstatic for that as a Cub fan. That's like, it's
you should. Yeah.
Part of the term, like trade rape. It's a term, but no, that should not happen. So yeah, no, that's called that's a kind of dream you wake up from, and you wonder why the bed's wet. So as we move into the next little segment, we're going to jump into this, but not too long ago, I think I want to say 1971, a Chicago singer, well known by people, wrote a song. And talked about a train that starts from. I'll take it down a little bit, but singing about the city of New Orleans and the city of New Orleans train. If you guys have ever taken a train out of Amtrak down south, the city of New Orleans train takes you from Chicago all the way down to the Big Easy, and that's what we were going to transition this because I know that Jack has been there. He was just recently there, as was I, but also someone that's very familiar with it. And I feel like the spiritual sister or cousin or best friend's former roommate of the city of Chicago really does. Las Vegas has a lot of Chicago connection too, but I feel like, because especially the music, New Orleans is such a spiritual, like, relative to the city of Chicago in so many ways. And so we want to transition over to Chicago. Now, if you haven't heard that Steve Goodman song, City of New Orleans, fantastic song. Steve Goodman, great, rest in peace. But the old Illinois Central Railroad down onto New Orleans, and I've actually taken that train before, so I actually love that. Let's talk a little bit about New Orleans. Jack, you were just recently there. Pete, I'm not sure the last time you were in New Orleans. Have you been to New Orleans? You've been in New Orleans, haven't you? Been a while?
I've been to New Orleans, but all I'll say is it's been a really long time. We're talking decades. and I don't remember anything outside of starting the day at Pat O'Brien's.
Okay. Well, that sounds like that's pretty much everybody's story. That's where everybody's story disappears. Good news for you. The Bears play in New Orleans this fall. So there is that. So you might be able to pop that back and go support the Bears, especially a possibly growing Bears team and everyone in Bears fandom. That is a great meetup spot. Last time I went when the Bears played, I actually went when the Bears played there last time, and huge meetup. Actually, we all met up at Pat O'Brien's actually that night. And ended up taking pictures on my back in front of the Supreme Court across the street on the backside of Bourbon Street. Yeah, and smoking a stogie. And then going with my cousin and my aunt to a strip club. So that was weird. Awkward. But also, welcome to New Orleans, right? So great place. And you were just there. So, again, post Katrina, the city obviously taking a different turn. But especially in the winter, if you guys aren't familiar with this, New Orleans is one of the best places to visit this time of year. The weather, other than our bad luck of having like the worst ice storm cold front that's come through that basically screwed everybody up on Christmas. It's supposed to be the warmest place in America on Christmas. And we thought, well, we're going to go there. And it turned into, it wasn't that bad actually, but it was like 40 degrees as opposed to, which is like usually 65, 70. I'm not sure how the temp was there when you were there, but I guess, Jack, let's talk about it. What is it about New Orleans that's such a great draw and a great city and what draws you down? I mean, you've been there enough where Mothers knows who you are.
Oh,
so, we'll talk about Mothers here in a second, but tell me, what is the draw about New Orleans?
I don't know. Like you said, I think there is a sisterhood with Chicago. My wife and I, we went there on our honeymoon, and we've been there a lot ever since. And it's just, I don't know. It's great places to eat. I love to eat, and I love music. It's relaxed, but it's not relaxed. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. I get that. I feel that every time.
Yeah. I don't know. And then the older we get, we'd like to go places that are familiar to us, just familiarity. And it's like, oh, here's a good airfare. Oh, and let's see if we love to stay. When we go there, we'd like to stay at the Marriott on Canal.
Okay.
And it's pretty easy to spot. And it's, I like being close to Bourbon Street. I don't like staying that close to Bourbon Street. And the Marriott's place, it's good for us. And if we can get a decent flight or use some of our points from Southwest, we're going. I don't know. It's just something just hits just right when we go there. We know where stuff is. Hey, this time we actually went to the casino a couple times and won some money.
To the Bally, or is it not the Bally's?
Harrah's.
Yeah.
Harris, yeah.
Because we're not very big gamblers, but and then we actually won, which was probably a bad thing because then we're like, ooh, let's go back. We won. Oh, they got us.
Classic.
But it's just, I don't know. We're very comfortable there and we have a good time. It's not a long flight. And if Southwest is actually operable, it works out good. It's very comfortable. It's relaxed, but it's not relaxed. Just everything hits in things that I like and we like. My wife and I, we love it there. And
yeah.
I don't know. I was kind of jealous of you. I was seeing you and your fiance there, and you're wearing winter hats and stuff. Because I get such a kick out of when it's cold there, and people are acting like they're in Siberia, and we're in Chicago. Like, hey, it's only 40, But it was when we were there. It was getting close to 70 every day, and it was beautiful. The weather was beautiful when we were there.
It's literally the place where Las Vegas residents go for vacation.
Yeah.
That's our Las Vegas, I think. That's probably, California doesn't count. Like, it's just next door. It's like going, 4 doors down to go play, Nintendo at your buddy's house. It's not the same. When the get out of Vegas, New Orleans is, and again, we'll get into the music scene too. And you're a big music, guy. I know Pete obviously is as well. McCaffrey with a touchdown. Awesome. But and with food and everything too. But the music scene there is absolutely fantastic. So there's a lot of similarities between both Chicago and New Orleans, and I think Vegas and New Orleans, because the music, the culinary scene, the party atmosphere. I mean, how that all works, yeah. And so that's the really cool part, and you have your place there, like so, and it's special to you, of course, because it's where you went on your honeymoon with your wife as well. But when you get there, so now this is something, because you've been there enough. Like, again, when we got there, and I felt bad kind of because I've been there enough, but my fiance, we haven't gone together, so it had never, but are you like, I gotta go to Cafe Du Monde? Like, is that something for you? Like those types of things? Are you like do you have what are your spots where you're like, okay, we have to hit these are non-negotiables on the trip, and the rest, then we can experiment out, but these are like, ain't happening, we're going.
Well, you know what? Kind of accidentally, we stumbled onto this place, Juan's Flying Burrito in New Orleans.
I know what you're talking about.
I so wish there was an outlet like that around here. Oh my God, is it good? And you just kind of don't think to yourself, hey, I'm going to New Orleans, I'm going to get a burrito. I'm going to get some Mexican food. And it's kind of like across, like if, what's the cheeseburger place with the heavy metal? Kuma's Corner. It's like if Kuma's Corner opened a Mexican restaurant. Yeah.
It's like a Creole taqueria.
Right. And they played the heavy metal in there. My wife was mesmerized by she's looking over, like I'm usually when we're together and there's a game on above her head. And I'm like, what are you watching? She's like, oh, they got some wrestling on TV. And I'm like, oh, you're mesmerized. It's a cool spot. And the food's really good, and it's just different. And they sell kind of the mission style type food. And that's kind of our new, like, okay, we're going to go there now. Or at least get some delivered to the hotel.
Now that Flying Burrito has both chicken, shrimp, and beef too, right? It's like
and it's Cajun seasoned chicken in there, and oh my God. And my love for a good burrito.
Absolutely.
There's nothing better. It sounds so silly because I do love oysters. I could eat them any way you cook them or raw. And winter oysters, those things are big. They plump.
The size of my hand. The size of my hand. It was like, I told you, I texted you guys when we went for Christmas brunch. I got these big old freaking oysters, and I tried to just, you do the slurp, but I'm like, oh my God, I was going to choke on it. It was like a regular good oyster. It's like kind of like swallowing like it sounds bad, a loogie, but this one was like I had just drained out mine and somebody else's nose into my throat. I almost choked on it. I had to actually do the old, make sure no one's watching. I'm choking right now, but I'm going to drink my water and pretend like I'm not choking. And there you go get it down like some Advil. Okay, got it. Woo. But I was like, oh, that would have been bad. But yeah, they're huge.
They fatten up for the winter, and then when you get those, they're very, I love a good oyster. I know it's touristy, but it's another place we got to go is Acme Oyster. Mm-hmm. And it's right around the corner from where we stay. Oh, and the Backspace bar is right literally across the street from the Marriott. I love that place. It's I don't know. So like you said, the places we know we gotta hit are Cafe Du Monde, and I'm okay with just hitting an outlet one or whatever, but it's nice to go to the main one right by
on the water.
Right. And because everyone, now I've tried that Cafe Beignet where everybody says these are better. I don't get it. I think Cafe Du Monde is better. What do you think?
We didn't go to Cafe Beignet, but I do know that my aunt, she lives down there too, she said that Du Monde is still. Beignet is a little bit different. It's the new, I guess say newer is not super new, but enough to. But Beignet, for me, it's usually somewhere place we go like at 11:30 at night. So I'm not really gonna be able to tell the massive difference between pastries with powdered sugar,
right?
But Du Monde just feels right because, again, like you said, the specific flagship right on the Mississippi at night, you can kind of hear sometimes outside on the water. it's just different because I love sitting outdoor, that little that patio area too, and you just it's different. It just and you get a little cup of coffee at 11 o'clock at night like an idiot. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could ask for decaf, I guess. But
there ain't much caffeine in that coffee.
That's good.
It's all milk.
So besides Dumont and now flying burrito,
and then Keelan turned me on to Parkway Bakery and Tavern. That's the best poor boy I ever had in my life. That is now it's not where we stay. It's not walking distance. You gotta take a Uber or a streetcar or something. But I'd say you gotta hit that place. Try it, because I mean, you go to places, you get a poor boy. You go to that place, it's like it's so much. I don't know. It's so good.
It hits.
But you know what? I'll be honest. We just like New Orleans. We're happy to go see a movie in New Orleans. You know.
Now you do love Mothers.
It's our comfortable, happy place. Our daughter's there now.
Oh, really? That's even funny that we're talking about that right now.
It's generational, I guess, in our family.
And so if you guys haven't been paying attention to Twitter or you don't follow Jack, he became an advertisement for one of the best comfort Southern cooking spots in New Orleans. Mothers is, man, they're everything. Their fried chicken is fantastic. Their color, like their whole soul food setup, but they also have these biscuits that are I mean, would you say they're the size of a human brain? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. They're amazing, and they're crumbly and buttery and like, so they got on Twitter, and I would always respond to them, you know, and I'd write #DatBiscuit on there and put like that flame emoji. And it's the weird, you know, you meet the nicest, sometimes you meet some really crappy people on the Twitter and you interact, and then sometimes you meet some nice people, and just through interaction on Twitter. And then I was, you know, I always, like I said, I'll respond to something DatBiscuit, and then they retweet it, and because it is amazing. And then I was like, hey, we might be coming down soon. And the guy DMs me, and he's like, oh, let me know when you're coming. And they treated us like royalty. I've never had a real comped before. I felt like... you
were an influencer. You were an influencer, Jack.
Yes.
And so we're there, and the guy that's in charge, he meets us there, and he's like, come on, I got a table here for us. And he's like, I go on a little photo op. And he has this guy come out with a full tray of the biscuits out of the oven. And he's like, I want to get a picture with you with the biscuits. And then they were like, oh, whatever you want to order. And it's on us. And we're like, really?
Amazing.
And Chris is kind of looking at me like, why do they, you know? And it's like, what did you have going on with these guys? I'm like, I guess I'm just that lovable. I don't know. It was really nice. So we're talking to this guy, and a couple of years ago on my route, I had that tree hit me and broke my hand. And I'm holding.
I remember that.
And I dumped it all in my lap in the middle. It looked like I soiled myself. It was hysterical and embarrassing. And what's funny was they didn't bat an eye. They're like, that's all? We've seen worse than that here. We cleaned up worse than that on the floor.
I'm sure. That area is not always the best sometimes.
Right. It was so cool. And then, like I said, I tipped, you know, someone walks up, oh, it's on us, you know, and it's like, they were like, order whatever you want. And they were kind of mad at us that we didn't order enough, and we were just shy.
Well, did you get the etouffee, the shrimp etouffee?
I had that. And my wife's stomach was a little hinky, and she was just like, I just want some grits and some scrambled eggs. And they're like, and this nice lady, Janet, she was just like, that's all? And then she's like, you can get that at home. We're like, we're good. And then they're like, you don't want any booze? And we're like, no, we're good. It's really early and we're not ready to drink yet.
Oh, Jack, you're on vacation, man.
Mistake there.
It was just, we were nervous. You know, you kind of meet people, you get a little anxious, and
That's a reason to drink.
I know. I know. But I probably, if I didn't spill pop all over my crotch, I might have had a drink.
They might take you a little bit. They might have already thought you were about a couple drinks deep anyway at that point.
Oh,
yeah,
man,
that's true.
Did that on purpose so he could start
everything around there. Henry
Boiling.
Rowan-Gardner. The tendon was healed a bit tighter.
It was so nuts. And that's another place. It's a must stop just for the.
Yeah, it's been there since 1938. For those of you guys that are listening, Mother's, world's best baked ham restaurant. But fried chicken there is insane. It's the best fried chicken in New Orleans, by the way.
Even just any, I don't know, something about that place too. It just screams New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And so they gave me this thing. It's a go to the front of the line card. I got a VIP card.
Yeah, so it's a buffet style. You got to go up. You know, we got your tray. You got the old like.
I know. He was like
trays.
Something really, and I'm like, this is the best thing ever because they always have a line out the door. And he's like, nope, just come to the front of the line, show us your card. I'm like, I got to take this home and laminate it. And he's like, Jack, don't put that on social media. And I'm like, nope, this goes right in the vault. That's, you know.
Jack is in the Mother's Restaurant AMC Stubbs list. Is what that is.
Yes.
You get the front of the line at the snack bar now. You don't have to wait in line.
I want to use it, but I'll be embarrassed as hell using it. Coming through, VIP, coming through. Who is this asshole with the baseball hat on and the gray beard coming through? Santa wants his ham. Let him through.
Never
get between Santa and his ham.
Hey, Jack, don't ever feel bad about using it. I can just say that I have, and Fids was with me one time. I'm sort of like Norm in Cheers when I walk into a certain finer establishment at Caesar's Palace.
Oh,
oh yeah. Yep.
Oh, you know what? The first time I'll be able to, the second to the 100th time I use it, it'll be like second nature, I'm sure. Hey, got my red
exactly.
Mailman Jack coming through.
Fourth or fifth time, peasants, please spread.
My biscuits are burning. I gotta get in there.
You bring like like Andre the Giant with you. Like, everybody boo!
Yeah, they're gonna announce Jack when you walk in.
You get like a trumpets blow. Actually, probably like more of a trombone.
Oh, God.
They'll part like the Red Sea in the Ten Commandments. So just open.
Oh, and they gave us a jar of that the berry preserves. So he gave us a jar of that. That's stashed away in my cupboard for my private use when I'm having a down day right now. I don't want anybody.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure it'll get rated.
Oh, I'm sure. But and they gave us some bread pudding to go because we were like I said, everybody was so nice, and it was like you said, it was kind of nice because then I tweeted out and then he was like, hold off on doing anything yet because I think he put their thing out like on the Monday after we came back.
Okay,
it was nice to see all our followers from White Sox Twitter interacting with Mothers from my retweet. So you know what? Maybe I was worth all that pomp and circus. I don't know. But it was nice. It was funny. It was a highlight of our trip. That our big win at Harrah's,
Yeah.
We almost won $100, Hey, that's a lot.
Ooh.
When you're only betting 40 cents a spin on the slot machine, that's a big win.
It's a lot of biscuits at Mother's, even though they're comp.
Yes.
But yeah, and so I've never been to Vegas, guys. Who's gonna help me out with this? I've never been.
Okay, Jack. If I'm in Vegas the same time as you, and Fids knows this already, there is one of two places, or three places actually, that you could actually find me, and it's not on the casino floor. It's either at the Davidoff Cigar Bar in front of the Fashion Show Mall,
okay,
Casa de Fuente cigar bar in the Forum Shops at Caesars, or the Monte Cristo cigar bar across from Cleopatra's Barge in Caesars. So I could sit there and look at Cleopatra and think of Beavis and Butthead climbing up her.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be tempted to light up a cigar with you. I'm not a big cigar person, but occasionally I'll take a couple puffs.
We'll get you. Someday you go out to a game, we'll go in Lot B.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
actually showed him a couple tricks too, and he's like, "Oh my god, this is awesome."
okay.
Do you remember? Do you remember, Fitz?
Oh, we're dipping. Yeah, we're talking about dipping
with
the
the
whiskey and the
Yes.
the V cut. Yeah, I've been cutting my cigars my entire life like a cave person. And so so I had to Pete showed me, hey, look, this is a much better way. And so now I'm a V cut or die kind of person. But yeah, I mean, and, we talk about this too, and the music scene obviously too in New Orleans is fantastic. For those of you who've never been, Frenchman Street is where you go. The Spotted Cat is probably, I'd say, the most notable of the jazz clubs, but the jazz scene there is just fantastic. You can hear it at night, all over the place. Wherever you're at, there's live music all over the place. I mean, I've done Austin, Texas, 6th Street, which is a blast too, really good music scene. I did Austin actually on a Friday, and then I did Bourbon Street on a Saturday, which was like consecutively. That was not great for my liver, but it was in my eardrums probably too. But you've got a really good jazz scene there, just music scene in general. And I don't know if you've ever been, but Jack, I would totally recommend this because I know you dig on a grilled meats. But if you're ever there too and you get an opportunity to sneak over to Koshan, whether it's Koshan or Koshan Butcher, which is right next door.
Big Mac is heaven. Is that Big Mac?
Yeah, and I had that there, and then I had geez, I just drew my the holy smokes in Chicago, the Publican. Sorry, I went to the Publican while I was in town a couple weekends ago, and across the street from the Publican, they have like the Publican Butcher as well. Very same concept where one place has their meats and the other place does like deli sandwiches and like fantastic meat sandwiches. But if you get a chance to hit Koshan, it's fantastic. Really good barbecue stuff. I didn't get a chance to eat as much stuff because we were a little bit hair of the dog on the last day, and we weren't even drinking heavy the night before. But after a couple of days of being in New Orleans, that last day, you're kind of it's less hangover and more pretty much withdrawal at that point. Your body's like, I hate you.
It kind of is like, how much fried food are you gonna eat, you fat fuck? It's like, oh god. And then you go home, you have one salad, and then you're right back to your old tricks. It's all good.
Yeah, and sneaky good there too. Muffaladas. Those are great. When I was there, I got to go to Napoleon House, which has been there. That was a house that was built for when Napoleon was supposed to come to exile in the United States, but he died before he got here. House has been there since then, and they have really good. They do the Pim's Cup cocktail, which is real popular down there. It's a great town though. So I mean, we've talked a ton about New Orleans, but if you ever get a chance to go down there, you know who to hit up. Hit up Mailman Jack. If you ever want to get to the front of the line at Mother's, you got to hit up Mailman Jack too. He can maybe escort you to the front.
Yeah.
You'll be
burning a hole in my pocket for the next trip.
Yeah. Jack knows a guy, so he'll hook you up.
Jack has got the hook up. He's an influencer. Yes. So as we segue over, I mean, we talked a little bit about music, and I know that you went to a concert yesterday over at Reggie's, which is great. And so, obviously you got a big love of music. So let's kind of dig into this. First off, who did you go see yesterday at Reggie's? And tell us about your concert experience. It looked pretty good. It looked like you were trying to hide the fact that you were filming with your phone because it was like half of the.
We were so close. And I get so embarrassed doing that. My brother-in-law really gets off on it. I love him, and I'm like, they're looking right at us. I felt like that episode of
give me the vinegar stroke.
Rerun taping the Doobie Brothers,
Oh my god.
And we saw White Reaper. It was it was an XRT pop-up show, and it was free. And for an oldish gentleman like myself, those are the perfect length. They're like an hour. Not to mention the fact that they're free, and it's at Reggie's. And are you guys frozen?
No, are you
No.
there?
Oh, okay.
We were
Cool.
Still
we
gotcha.
were so
No.
into the story that we were like frozen.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
I was thinking about the DNA I left all over Reggie's when we were there
now
for the 108
I,
Fest. I got a
I
lot of
kind of
DNA.
didn't realize White Reaper rocked as hard as they did. They were awesome. The songs you hear on the radio, they're more poppy and pop,
Mm-hmm.
and they were getting it. And what was really cool was their guitars were tuned to sound a lot like Thin Lizzy.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Big
wow.
Big time. Big time Thin Lizzy guitar vibes on their with what they were playing. But then the guy singing, he kind of sounds like Jimmy Eat World. So it was a weird love child thing going on, and they were really good. I'll say it's those are Reggie's is cool, and it's as Pete, as you well know, when you live on the South Side, it's nice to get to go to a place where you can be there in less than half an hour.
Yes.
And
Yep.
because with the whole Lynn Bramer thing you were talking about, these people were texting me and they're like, oh, well, there's a thing at Simon's tonight for Lynn, and Simon's is in Andersonville. It'll probably take me an hour and a half to get there.
Yeah.
Anyway, but just Reggie's on the South Side, you can't beat it. All you got to do is pay a meter if you want to park there, or it's actually a relatively affordable lift.
I feel that way about Reggie's, and another one that fits that description is Buddy Guys.
Oh, yeah.
And I love Buddy Guys. I liked the old one, which was on the other side of the block, and then the new one is like Buddy Guys but cleaned.
Right.
Non-smoking venue, so it doesn't feel right if there's
old
not.
Buddy Guy was always a good hack if you were going to something at the United Center
Mm-hmm.
to leave your car there.
Yes.
Behind by the L tracks.
Yep.
Yeah, our both my kids, I'll brag about my kids a little. They went to Jones, and they used to have like the PTA fundraisers at Buddy Guys. Is it thing?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
That's awesome.
yeah, I was like, oh, we're having a fundraiser. It's at Buddy Guy, and it's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I normally someone says, oh, PTA fundraiser.
Yeah.
Oh, it's at Buddy Guys. Oh yeah, hell yeah, we'll be there.
We're in.
Yeah, those are two, nice. I mean, it's a lot fancier now than it used to be, but
Right.
the convenience for somebody that lives south of Bridgeport, because that seems like that's as far as like if you're looking at something and they're giving lists of places to get good cheeseburgers or something, they'll go as far as 35th Street.
Yeah.
And then they'll toss in Top Notch on 95th, and then that's it, But
to that point, that's like I know you and I share we have the same favorite beef place.
Oh, yes,
and that I tell people all the time, you want to go get a real beef sandwich, go to Tony's. And I was going to Tony's when Dominic's was across the street from there, because my mom would take me, when I was a kid, we go grocery shopping and then we stop at Tony's, pick up some beef, take it home for dinner.
that place is, like everybody knows certain things for Chicago, but that's like one you could pull out of your pocket where it's like people, I never heard of that place. It's like, why aren't they bigger? And it's like, they don't want to be,
Right. They're happy just the way they are. And I think the inside has not changed in 40 years.
Those stools haven't changed.
Yeah, exactly.
Little ledge. Tony's is, hey, a million ComEd workers can't be wrong. Tony's is
a million ComEd workers, a million police officers, a million construction workers, and Midway airport staff.
Oh, and and what best I look forward to. It's not Lent; it's pepper and egg season. One of the best pepper and egg sandwiches in the
Mhm.
city.
That's awesome. Well, so we're talking about music a little bit. Now we're going to talk
Mhm.
about what the kids are talking about. We're old bastards here.
Mhm.
So, what's
Yeah.
all the rage right now? I know, as a high school teacher, I get to deal with teenagers probably more than anybody really would like to, for the most part, for any sane human. But the all the rage, right? What's all the rage for the kids right now seems to be something that older adults like our age love to hate. So it's kind of interesting that it pops out this way. But maybe you've heard of these Italian birds that have been singing a lot lately, and they've had a couple real popular songs, a couple cover tunes. But if you've not heard of these guys, you got a band that's starting to blow up, and their name's Måneskin. They're Italian, so I'm just gonna play only enough for us to not get dinged with copyright.
There you go.
That's it.
So if you've heard this song, I'm sure you've heard this song, a couple of their other songs. They've all right, so we'll cut it there, but just so we don't get in trouble. But Måneskin's been it's blowing up. They're a band. They're Italian. They're big Rolling Stone nuts. They toured with the Stones. They just made their first single American, the solo American tour where they were the headliners. And all I've noticed is that young people absolutely freak out about. They're real sexual too, by the way. Like on stage, they're all wearing barely wearing any clothes, half nude, the whole band, and they're gifted. And it's a fantastic live show too. I got to see them here in December, but young people are they're loving these guys. And every time you talk to somebody that's especially like a huge fan of classic rock or wallet chain like metal, I know that metal like wallet chain metalheads really hate Måneskin. So let's just talk. I just wanted to kind of what is it like? What is it about either? What do you guys think about it? Is that's because again, they do have that, like they have a Rolling Stone vibe about them too. They're real skinny. They're wild. They have great pipes and they just rock. But what is it about Måneskin that irks older music fans? The way that
They think
it's weird. So I'll let you guys take away. Go for it.
Yeah, I think it's because they think they're pretty boys, and I call it the Milli Vanilli effect, because everyone and their mother. I know this is going to sound weird to say it this way. If you actually listen to the music Milli Vanilli put out, and I'm talking about the singers they had in the studio doing it, not
Right.
Rob and Fab. It is not bad. It really isn't. But you could tell that there's no way these vocals came out of those two guys. You could just tell.
Two German dudes, right? Or something like that.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it was the pretty boy factor with it and everything else. And I think people are still to this day like, oh, they're too pretty to be actually producing music like that. So there's got to be someone in a studio someplace who's actually recording this.
Do you think so? Or maybe the singer, maybe they're thinking he's trying to be too Mick Jagger-y, but almost too flamboyant, And
that's why, and that's part of my pretty boy comment.
Yeah.
But and because look at what's his name, Goofball from Maroon 5, the Illustrated Man. There's another guy who's trying to be, like the 21st century Mick Jagger.
Now I think man is. I want to say, and then the way you read it, if you main skin,
yeah. Uh-huh.
But I think they're more talented than him.
Best part
is I agree with that. I agree with that.
Elitist music fans, no, it's Måneskin. Just like when it's not Bon Iver, it's Bon Iver. Like it's a great way to get. I'm such a music snob.
No,
it's
Bon Iver. You troglodyte.
No, you do what I did when I was in LA one time. I told the cab driver, take me to Rodeo Drive. Oh my God, it's Rodeo Drive. I said, it's rodeo in the dictionary, asshole. Take me to Rodeo Drive.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I didn't find out their name was Bon Iver until I was actually at the concert going, man, I love Bon Iver. And someone goes, I'm like, oh, hello, nasty look. What is that side eye for? Bon Iver.
Well, don't forget the alternate one. Yeah. don't forget the ultimate one. It's the Ohio State
Oh, yeah.
University.
Mhm,
Don't
mhm,
you
mhm.
ever forget that.
Or the U. The U. Yeah, so it is what it is. But you know what has been universal, I think, for the most part, even though he's been around for so long, is we've been privy to watch a young musician grow from late teens, with a two-part band that kind of revolutionized how bands that opened the doors for other bands like Black Keys and some of these Black Crystal Fire, some of these like two-part bands. Was the White Stripes and Jack White, whether it's in the documentary with The Edge and with who was it? Was it Jimmy Page? No, who was in the documentary? It Might Get Loud. It was The Edge, Jack White, and then
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
It's a fantastic documentary. It's called It Might Get Loud. And then it's three different musical styles. Yeah, it's Jimmy Page, The Edge, and Jack White, and they both the first part of it tells each of their stories, so like a third. Then at the end, it brings all of them together and they jam out at the end, and they play music that they create for the doc. And like there's The Edge shows how he makes his sound. The Edge has a very distinguishable sound, the wow 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 wow, when he's playing with the pedals and the reverb. And obviously you've got Jimmy Page has his own sound, and Jack White in this documentary takes basically a couple guitar strings and a couple of like boards, and he makes a guitar and plays it. Like it's insane. Like, but it shows how gifted those three individuals are. So Jack White, I mean, I think it's pretty clear to a lot of people that are in the music industry that Jack White's a prodigy in a lot of ways. And for us, for our generation, we joke about rock god, so I'm not gonna say he's a rock god, but I did put that in our little rundown. Is he a rock god? But for you guys, Pete, your favorite album last year was Jack White's album. This guy continues to produce quality material. His live shows are fantastic. He keeps the mystique what it is. He doesn't allow cell phones. The phones have to be stored. So every experience with Jack White at a live concert is something that only you'll have for your memory. Now, I drew pictures of it in stick figures when I got to see it. I wanted to make sure I remembered. That's not
necessarily true, by the way, because there is a website called nugs.net, nugs.net, where you can purchase Jack White concerts,
but the audio only,
White Stripe concerts,
but only the audio,
straight off of the board.
Right, but it's
the
only
audio only. Correct.
Yeah, it's not the visual part.
Correct.
And actually, when you leave the concert, I have it back there. Actually, they give you a postcard with a QR code. So the next day, you can click on the QR code. It also has pictures because you can't take pictures, but they take pictures for you. Yes. So you can I think you can download up to 5 pictures, and then you have to start paying. You could actually get concert like glossies delivered. Like you could pay for like bigger artwork of the concert you were at through it. And they've got obviously the concert posters that they sell. It's kind of a nice way to keep the concert without this. You don't want to have people holding their phones up the whole time. So it was a really interesting experience to be there too, because I've been to so many shows, and obviously everyone I'm guilty of it just as much as anybody else, throwing the phones up when it's a really great song. I have like a 10 or 12 second like minute, I'll keep it at 10 to 12 seconds usually, and then I'm back in my pocket. But I just want to have a little snippet. Because especially if I'm drinking, I'm like, I want to remember some of this. But it's so weird to go to a concert show like that with Jack White, because there's nothing. It's just a concert. It's like the worst thing you're going to see. Maybe someone snuck in a lighter, even though people can't sneak those in even anymore. And so it makes for a good show. But for you guys, what do you think it is? What is the throwback about Jack White? What is the Jack White draw? What do you guys think? What makes him such, besides the fact that he can play like a billion instruments, what makes him such an entertaining act, and what is it about the music that you guys dig the most?
Go.
I actually got to see him live at the Omagong Brewery in Cooperstown, New York, when I was out there a few years ago, and I just think it's not only, like you said, he's a prodigy, but it's also he's not pegged into, like, he's not the guy where you hear the opening sounds of the song, you go, oh yeah, that's a U2 song, or that's a Rolling Stone song. He runs the gamut and produces different things. If you like we talked about a while back, he put out 2 distinctly different albums this year. Yes, a lot of the same songs were on both, but one was electric and one was acoustic, and it was completely different takes on the same thing. And I think his willingness to be creative and not stick to the same formula, if you will, oh, I'm going to make this record again, or
Right.
redo this and everything else. I think that's a large part of it.
Like he was, with the White Stripes, and then he goes Wreck on Tours, and it's like, oh, really? Oh, this is really cool.
And then he goes with Dead Weather, which he plays the drums for, with Allison, is it Mosshart, as the lead singer instead. So you've got the Raconteurs, you got Dead Weather, you got White Stripes, you've got solo albums, you've got his appearance in movies like Cold Mountain, Oscar-winning performances. And he, by the way, for those of you that are fans of Martin Scorsese, he also is credited for a role in the new Killers of the Flower Moon film that's coming out later on this year. Yeah, he's got a little
Really?
Yeah, so
nice.
He's gonna kick out of that. He's gonna be in that film.
Little in it, or
Jack White? He's got a part. Yeah, he doesn't say who he is, but I'll pull it up right now. Actually, what his part is. Jack White play. It doesn't say who Jack White plays actually, but he's in it.
I just hope that it's when Taylor Swift made her appearance in Amsterdam, I was hoping for the end result that we got, but I just wanted it sooner. I don't feel that same way about Jack White.
No. I mean, he's really good. Like, he's been in a couple other things. I mean,
yes.
He's meme famous. That picture of him looking all dour at the Cubs game.
Oh yeah.
That is the best.
Oh yeah. It's one of the best.
Yes.
Like, I hate it here looks.
Oh my god.
Like, ever.
Picture on
and I do know he is a huge baseball fan.
Oh, big
huge. And he actually, the part of the reason he was in Cooperstown when I was there is because his band played an exhibition game against like one of those traveling, sort of like Harlem Globetrotter type teams, but for baseball. They played an exhibition game at Doubleday Field. That's why he was there. And he just went and played the concert Sunday night, Memorial Day weekend at the Ommegang Brewery.
That's awesome.
Hey, that's cool. So was it like one of those here a little while ago where the tickets were just released?
Yeah,
a couple nights before.
It was.
There was one. There was just one. There was one a couple weeks ago, right? Wasn't there?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was definitely pre-pandemic.
No, there was one just recently. Like,
in Chicago.
Right.
Yeah, in Chicago, just like a couple weeks ago. Where was it at? Let's see here. Was it at the?
I know. It's
Empty Bottle,
right? Was it at Empty Bottle? Yeah, Empty Bottle.
Yeah.
It was at the Empty Bottle. Total small, 29 songs he played.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Those ones where you're trying to get it and the ticket, it's actually in your cart.
Yeah.
Somebody already bought it.
Gone.
Yeah.
That sucks.
But no,
Dan Fertitta from the Dead Weather played with him too. By the way, if you've not heard the Dead Weather, I can't recommend it enough. Cut Like a Buffalo is vintage Jack White sound. I'll just put it that way. He's just singing backup vocals, and Allison Mosshart, I'm a very big fan of hers. She's a hot. I mean, she's punk. Allison Mosshart is just punk. She actually was on an episode. Dead Weather was on an episode of Anthony Bourdain when they went to Nashville, Nashville, and he goes to a house party with them, and they have a big old house party, and Dead Weather plays, and he's talking with Allison Mosshart. She actually became really close to him before he passed away. So, but that's a really good side project for him. It's heavy stuff. It's good.
Yeah, that White Reaper, they got pretty punky. It was fun. It was a lot more than I expected. I mean, I was semi-familiar with them, but it was a lot more than I expected, and it was really awesome. Yeah,
nothing like a good live show. Nothing like a good live show,
and free.
But like I said, well, Jack, you know my motto in life: if it's free, it's free.
It was, and like I said, it's just, I guess, maybe they're having a hard time selling. They're having a concert, I think, at the Metro in a couple months, and they were just like, okay, this is us. Go buy those tickets, man. It was really cool. They said this was their warm-up thing, and they're about to embark on their tour.
Always good stuff. Always good stuff. So We talked about a little bit of music. Real quick, we don't have to go too long on this one, just because I know we're pushing a little bit on time, and I want to get to the.
I drag things out. Sorry.
No, not you. No, nothing. We're staying pretty close.
So
to
do we.
The rundown. We're pretty close to the rundown. I'm actually pretty impressed with ourselves. We've done well.
Yeah.
But let's just do a top thing because we mentioned food, and we all like food. We all love food here, and so we're not talking bougie. We don't have to get bougie. But for you guys, I'll let you guys kind of rock with this because you guys are all over the place. What are your 3 favorite food spots, like in Chicago? Like if you had to choose 3 to eat, and that was where you're going to go. And now think of diversity of menu because you don't have to eat the same thing every night, right? So who has like that? What 3 places would you put on your? If I had to eat these for the rest of my existence, these would be it. What are your spots in Chicago you'd call that? Right. We're talking. Yeah. If
wow, that's a mouthful.
Because I know a couple of people would be like Rico Benny's or like some like Rosangela's, and some might say Portillo's, and some wherever everyone goes. Scatchels or whatever. Svo would definitely say Scatchels. And White Castle. I mean, what are your spots? What are
like Father Zoe would say Rosangela's without question.
Yeah, that's his like. I mean,
Rosangela's. Now the weird thing about me with Rosangela's, I'll never get it to go. I always want to have it there. Just something, as you all know, when you get pizza there, it's so much better. And Rosangela's is right on par with that with me too. If I want it, I got to have it there and probably burn the living crap out of the inside of my mouth on that first bite and regret it.
In our 70s, that's going to keep happening to us in our 70s. We don't learn a damn thing.
Yeah.
Ever.
Oh, yes. Worst. It's God. I just
what's going to happen.
It's, oh God, why didn't I just have a couple more fries before I took a bite of this pizza?
And you do the open mouth chew so you could cool it off with your breath going.
Whenever you're drinking, you chug that too.
Spit it back into your hand and then burn your hand too.
You start making the 1980s prank phone call, heavy breathing. And, eventually it cools down, but your tongue is now literally has like the shape of the piece that you have in your mouth.
And then also the beauty of Rosangela's is the beer's really cheap, so you always get a pitcher of beer because I think it's like 50 cents more to get a pitcher than it is to have 2 beers in there. So it's like I'll have a pitcher of beer, So
yeah,
that's great. What are some?
And Brian S. The Magnificent Stand also mentioned Jack Better mentioned the tamale cart lady.
Oh my God. That's my old neighborhood. I grew up around there. Those are my favorite tamale ladies. It's if you live in Chicago, the best place to get tamales is in a cart outside of a laundromat somewhere. And you have your favorites, but it's always outside of a lavanderia or Mr. Sudsy. It's right outside.
Lavanderia, yeah.
I think Kedzie, those two, they're always there, and they're there till they run out. And they're very patient with me with my attempt at to speak Spanish a little. And they know I don't tip. I over tip. So a couple times when regulars there and they see me and they're like, "Oh yeah, you come here." It's like, who the hell is he? This weird old guy just drove up in a Miata and you're kissing his ass,
I gotta ask. Can you give us you order in Spanish? I would like you say you give it an attempt. I really would like to hear what a Mailman Jack Spanish tamale order would be. No.
I mean, just like guys, like just how much or whatever. It flows freely. I don't want to offend anybody. But I speak a little restaurant Spanish, and I'm pretty good with numbers and asking how much something costs and whatever. But I know Cartero means mailman. It's always
Banyo.
when
Banyo. Bathroom.
somebody, it's like what my name is, like if the and I tell them Jack. It's funny because it's always Yak, because the letter J doesn't exist, and Cartero Yak is my pseudonym. When I first started at the post office, I worked in Cicero for a few years. Cicero was actually served by out of the Chicago post office, like Evergreen Park, and even though it's not part of, they're actually part of the Chicago post office system. And I transferred out a lot closer to where I live, but I so much miss working at Cicero just for the food. Oh, it was amazing.
Scatchels. I had Scatchels on my way out, and then the traffic hit on the bridge over the river on Cicero Avenue. There's a car accident on the other side. Mm-hmm. So what was supposed to take about 12 minutes, 13, 14 minutes, took us 35 minutes. And I actually started getting scared I was going to miss my flight, because I rolled in 5 minutes before we were 5 or 6 minutes before we were supposed to board. But thank goodness for TSA pre-check, and Midway was dead empty for some reason. I got through fast, but I was terrified.
No, that's like a lot like Tony's. If it's not, it's one that people don't know about, and it's one of the.
Yeah. That's this Svo gave me that recommendation. They also filmed a scene from Wayne's World there.
Get your car washed next door too. Well, did you have
my suitcase washed instead?
They
got a little casino in there too. I was like, what is it? They got a little casino.
When I worked in Cicero, they always had it was Bill Clinton days. It was a long time ago. It was like they had a beef sandwich car wash special. I'll have the beef sandwich and car wash, and it was probably like $6, crazy. They have one of the best. And then in Cicero also, all right, so you want to know some of my favorite places to go in Chicago? It's actually in Cicero. Freddy's Pizza. Bring cash. You always know the best places to go. Cash only. Freddy's Pizza and Tofano's, just right outside of UIC. Cash only, and you'll never be sorry. Freddy's Pizza, and it takes you a couple times to go to Freddy's Pizza to know what to get. You're kind of overwhelmed. You kind of don't realize what's there, and then when you do, you don't know what the hell to get, because give me one of everything. Give me that thing hanging from the ceiling. Give me one of those.
Just point at the menu and say yes.
Oh, did you want some? And then the lady that owns it should have been a car salesman, because she will upsell the living shit out of you. Jack, did you get a pepperoni bread? And I'm like, son of a bitch, now you put it in my head. Of course I want a pepperoni bread.
What about a pizza puff? You're like, wait, I'm fun.
Did you want, Jack? Did you get artichokes? What do you want? 3 Fordos? Yes, please. And then you're like thinking in yourself, and you're doing math in your head. Do I have enough cash?
Yeah.
You get embarrassed.
That's
it. Pete, what's the great sign of how to know if a place is good? Tons of cop cars all over the place.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, hell yes.
Right.
Hell yes. If you see cops in there, that means it's good food, because even if it, the thing is with cops, if it's free but it's bad, they'll still go someplace else that's good food and pay.
Right. Now, when you go to Freddy's, it's right on the edge of Berwyn. So you got Cicero cops there, you got Berwyn cops there, and you'll even get Oak Park cops there, because it's right there too. You'll get 3 different kinds of police cars parked outside of.
Don't forget the state troopers too.
And the state troopers, correct.
Yep.
Also, you're all fighting for spots and trying to figure out, because you're in Cicero, one side of the street always is a street cleaning day. And when you come out of Freddy's, your car will be gone if you park on the wrong side of the street.
Yeah.
My old pal Betty Loren Maltese mastered that. Yeah.
She had to pay for all that makeup somehow.
Check the signs when you go to Freddy's and you're parking on the street. Always check the street sign, because they might not be as fast as Lincoln Park Pirates towing, but they're pretty damn quick. If you think I'm just going to sneak in here and get a quick Italian sub and run back, come out, car is gone. Even if it has a U.S. mail sign in the window.
Is this a store? No, I'm just kidding. Has this happened before?
Oh, now when I worked in Cicero, we actually used our own cars.
Oh,
It was a relay. So you ever see those mailboxes, those little green things on the corner that they're not mailboxes? They look like a mailbox. It's just green. There's a door. Those are relay boxes. Cicero was a relay station. So we actually used our own cars. And we'd have these signs, official U.S. mails. And they did not work when you went to Freddy's and parked on the wrong side of the street. And then you'd have to go and really be embarrassed. And they wouldn't make you pay, but they'd make you go to that freaking toll lot and you beg your ass.
Which toll lot? Which toll lot?
In Cicero, it was right by where GE used to be, over on 54th. What was it? It was off 22nd and 54th Avenue, right off of Cermak and 54th. It was right by where
at least it was somewhat close. Not that ridiculous one.
No. It was in Cicero. It wasn't far away.
That ridiculous one.
The one south here?
Yeah.
By Hine? No, they didn't make us go all the way there. Cicero, it was a complete racket. They had it down. It was, like I said, and then it's like, did you tow a car here that had a big U.S. mail sign in it? And it's like, well, we're going to deliver in the mail. And it's like, really? And it's like, whatever.
Whatever.
All right. So what I give you? I gave you Freddy's. I gave you Tofano's.
And the tamale carts.
Tamale cart
lady. And I don't usually, I'm not a big fancy go out to eat guy there. I mean, I know people like what they like, and I don't know.
Can you tell everybody, how do you know it's a good delivered Chicago pizza?
The bag and the bag, the logo on the bag or the box.
There it is.
But if there's one thing, even where I live, there's it's you don't get chain pizza. No, you go to the little guy. What's that? Jimmy in Florida loves that. I go to that place.
Jimmy Vinicki.
Jimmy goes to that place, Tata's on 111th Street. He cracks up over it. Yeah, for the name. But they crank out some good pizza out of that place, and it's just a typical Chicago neighborhood place. They don't have a dining room. They do have a bring your own pizza patio outside, bring your own booze patio outside. But they crank out a good pizza, and most of the places that you go, you get your favorite pizza from, like you said, it's like Tony's Beef. People never heard of it.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. I have to voice some anger. I know, and I know it's just Portillo's, and I know it's not like the great, but it's Portillo's. It's still good. They've opened them in LA. They've opened them on the drive to San Diego and Riverside. They've opened them in frickin' Phoenix. They've opened them in Scottsdale. Now, this week, they opened one in Dallas. None in Vegas.
Really?
None. We can't get a problem. I mean, there's a place here called Winnie City Beef and Dogs. It's the closest. It's not great. It's just not on the level. We have Rosati's and Giordano's here. It's okay for tavern style and whatever. It's whatever. But beefs specifically here, no one's gotten it right. We used to have a place here in the 80s called Bono's. They got it right. They used, they had it right down to the buns and the scallas and the beef, the proper beef, but that was then. This is now, there is not a single place here, and Portillo's keeps just. It's like it's like Las Vegas has the cooties, and all I need is just one Portillo's. I don't give a shit what part of town it's on. we didn't get Chick-fil-A here forever because they didn't want to come to Vegas because of Sin City, but they're here. We got them all over the place now. They've spread like herpes. So, I'd love to get chlamydia from Portillo's, I guess, and spread that around as well because we don't have it here. I don't get it. I'm really annoyed because I'm like my ex brother-in-law and my nephew and my niece. They went to Portillo's this weekend.
Now a lot of Pete Al's seemed like they were really trying hard to branch out,
expand out. Yeah,
and they were even half Al's, half Connie's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not Connie's, Nancy's. Yeah. But then it kind of they were closing just as fast as they were opening.
Right.
There was an Al's in Nancy's where that Fry the Coop place is now on 95th Street.
Oh, yeah. Like Roberts Road, right?
No, just almost just a couple blocks west of Cicero. I could literally walk there after I lie to my doctor and tell him, I'll eat more healthy, and then walk out and go to Fry the Coop. It's 2 blocks away before you get to the train station in Oak Lawn.
Okay, I know where you're talking about.
We did get an Al's here for a second, but I think it matches up with what you're saying, how they opened and then they closed almost just as fast. It was open. It was not open very long here. Like I went to the grand opening, and I feel like 3 months later it was already gone. Like it was really fast. It was so fast.
Bad something going on because I love Al's beef is good and their little outposts were good. So Rickabenny's was kind of doing the same thing too.
Overexpanded.
Because I went to. It was great when they had the 2 Rickabenny's on the south side. The one right down the street from Erie High School on Pulaski, and then the other one, 82nd in Cicero?
That's it.
81st?
Right.
Yeah.
And then now you still got to go. It's so that area always. I've lived in Chicago my whole life, and you go to that area by Rickabenny's, and it's almost like a movie set, because you're like underneath the highway.
Yep.
You're expecting, like I said, it's like you're in a movie. You're in you always feel like you're in a scene from a movie when you're around there because you hear these buzzing cars over your head. You never really get any sunlight over there, That's such a unique area right there.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. And then there's Rickabenny's too. There's a park across the street, or there's
the El Carbone or whatever it is, the Mexican place right on the next block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've asked Beef Love about that place, and he was like,
yeah,
I don't trust
he's more of a punkies guy.
Right. It was like, you ever go to Carbone? The couple times I've been there, I always loved it. And he was just like, I don't trust it. I'm like, okay, you know a lot more than I would.
I mean, it's no White Castle delivered after a Postmates order at 3 in the morning that hangs on the fence of the Airbnb until about 5:46 a.m.
Hey, you want to know the beauty?
Still eat it.
Now we had a grocery delivery about an hour ago, and it's just sitting on my front porch. I'm not about anything going bad.
Yeah, it's cold enough. Yeah,
I came back and crushed those White Castle that night or that morning. Didn't matter.
It was kind of funny because I was like, "Oh man, did we set up that delivery?" And we're like, "Oh, just leave it outside till it's done." We'll get it.
Yeah, it's the old way of keeping things going.
I won't be mad.
All right, so let's go ahead with. We're going to transition over now because it's a special time. We've got a little bit of a game we'd like to play. I'm going to throw a little bad background music because it would be really fun. But we're going to play a little game here because on Jack's route, one familiar face that he sees on a regular basis, or maybe not recently, even as a young father Zoe from our other podcast, Pinwheel and Ivy, his neighbors, as he grew up, someone that saw Zoe apparently passed out naked on his swing set in the backyard. But a man named Hank, a legend. I got to know Hank specifically when he recorded a video for Zoe's birthday, and I only got to know him because it was through a video, so he doesn't know I exist. But I think he hopped on some sort of live call once that we had as a joke as well. But we're going to play a special game here, so I'm going to go take the music down. It's called WWHD. What would Hank do and Hank, who you're obviously familiar with. I think I might have a picture up. We've posted it on our Twitter at least. Let me see if I can. So for those of you that are watching, you just want to get to know Hank. Hank is a dude. He is a man's man.
A retired gentleman.
A retired gent, a man's man.
Chicago policeman. Hank's a badass. Do not
cross.
No. But he's hysterical. He's a delight. He's a pain in the ass. But don't fuck with Hank. No.
Oh, this is Hank. If you were wondering.
Yo, and he loves music.
Yeah, those aren't his headphones, guys. That's actually fake. Did you know that? No, it's tricky. But yeah, special effects, really. CGI, I tell you. That one, the left headphone's actually on his forehead.
Hank is awesome. Oh my! All right, what would Hank do? Let's
we're gonna leave Hank up while we play this game, because Hank is such a delight. So the first question, thanks to our guy Father Zoe, is what would Hank do if a prisoner escaped and was loose in his neighborhood?
Oh, I know. Hank would.
Can I guess? I was going to say.
Yeah.
Hank would shoot him.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Hank would shoot first and ask questions later.
The old Mayor Daley method.
But would he ask a lot of questions later and have a conversation with him to death?
Oh my God. That was so funny the day I met Zoe, and he was telling me, and I was telling him about Hank, and then and then he talked to me, talks, and then it's my turn to talk, and then he go, "Oh, Jack, I don't have my hearing aids in." So basically, you just have to listen to me, I was swimming at the park. He rides a pristine 10-speed around the neighborhood, a Schwinn 10-speed that is probably at least 40 years old, and he could sell it in mint condition for it's got the curly Q handlebars, and this is what Hank rides proudly, and he'll run your ass over if you're on the sidewalk and he's coming by, because but this bike is beautiful. What was the classic the Schwinn 10-speed? What was the name on it? This is what he rides. It's green. It's Kelly green, of course, because he lives in Beverly. It has to be color.
Was it a Huffy?
No, it's a Schwinn 10-speed. Okay. Rides to and from
Varsity 10. Varsity 10? No.
Oh, I don't know.
Speed road bike.
It's a Schwinn, and this thing, like I said, it is pristine. It looks like it just came off the floor, but that thing was probably made in the 70s or the 80s at the latest.
Is it a Schwinn Continental?
Schwinn Continental. There you go. It's a Schwinn Continental 10-speed, beautiful, and he rides it to go swimming. When you see him, he swims at the local park in the public pool, and that's why his hearing aids aren't in, because he doesn't want to get them wet.
Smart.
And then he'll pull over and talk to me about something. And the last time I think I told you I had an encounter with him, it was that day when we had right around Christmas, when it got really cold. And I come up to his house, door opens. It was like when Batman's crawling up the wall. Hank's head comes out the door. Gonna know soon. You better hurry up. Then he puts his head in, slams the door shut. That was it. That was the extent of our conversation.
It's like he came to visit the Wizard of Oz.
It was Jack. Better hurry up. Snows are coming. Bang. And I'm like, see, Hank. As you well know, Hank, you're like on my first block. I gotta go.
Thanks. He was brief. He didn't want to keep you. He knew you had places to go.
Oh,
he was looking out for you.
Very considerate.
Captain Obvious. Thank you. I gotta hurry my ass up because storms are coming. And it was that day it was coming, and the temperature was dropping like a freaking rock, Oh
yeah.
You went outside at 10:30, it was 35. You went outside at 11:30, it was 10 below. It was just so funny. It was hysterical. It was like, Jack, better hurry up. Storm's coming.
Slam.
Bang.
That's so. Question number 2, by the way, now is why I was laughing so hard, because you made mention of it. Because the next question is, what would Hank do if he couldn't turn off his hearing aid?
I don't know. I mean, there are times we've had conversations, and he's a delight. It's just he's one of a kind. And his wife is so nice, and I'm sure he's been driving her crazy forever. Audrey is her name, and she's a delight. And what would he do? I think you get a couple words in, but I think Hank has been dominating conversations long enough to just let you get I'm okay or whatever, and then he'd go back to his original point.
So it'd be a circular kind of discussion where he had a point, but then it kind of like morphs into like multiple stories within there.
Yeah. I mean, when he gets a hold of you, you're going to be with him at least 10, 15 minutes. Or on the days he just wants to make his point and slam the door in your face. That's good.
Right. Warning you about the weather, especially. So that's
better hurt. Storms are coming.
What would Hank do? Because there's 2 more, so we'll do 2 more. What would Hank do, WWHD, if someone didn't mow their lawn?
Bastards. Hank's a big sprinkler guy. What would Hank do? He'd probably mow it for him. If I know Hank, he'd mow it for you.
But then he'd probably bitch the whole time he was doing it, right?
I remember right before Zoe's parents moved, they had this big tree in front of their house, and it fell off and crashed and did a lot of damage to the front of their house. And then I think Papa's called the boys and said, "Get your asses over here and help me clean up this fucking branch." And then Hank every once in a while was giving them a dig about being on their ladders and stuff and cleaning off those branches. And the boys were over. And last time I saw you were on a ladder. And then it's those days. Fucking hell, Jesus Christ. So I hope the insurance company took care of you guys. Boy, you got the insurance company. You got the hell out of the neighborhood.
Bye. All right. And then the last one we got, because, I mean, obviously Hank directing someone whose house has been damaged by falling trees is bad enough. What would Hank do? This is tragic. It feels like this is tragedy ready to happen, by the way. What would Hank do if someone didn't say hi back?
I don't know. You know what? He'd probably circle the block on his bike and he'd hit you again till he got you to say hi. He's a hell of a rider. I'm telling you. You would.
I mean, look at him. He looks like Lance Armstrong, Hank. I have a hard time.
I think he'd give you a couple shots, and if you didn't respond, he'd probably never speak to you again for the rest of your life. But
I feel like you would be supremely hurt if you didn't say hi. That's for sure.
Well, yeah. Hank, I think Hank gives you 3 strikes and you're out. That's it.
That's fair. Fair. Man of the law.
He's 3 strikes and you're out. He's something. There's you always get a few of these people that you deal with, and he's a delight. And like I said, don't fuck with Frank. Nope. Hank. I mean, don't mess with Hank. I think no, don't.
So we have just finished the round of what would Hank do. We probably will never do it again unless Zoe comes on the show. But I would like to hear Zoe's answer those questions, because I believe they would be very similar. I believe he had intent with those questions, by the way. I think Zoe, I think Zoe has these are things that he's been wondering about. What would Hank do? And they manifest.
Or these are things that Zoe has actually bore witness to. You know.
Yeah, this is true too.
So the heartwarming story of Zoe tells about Hank giving him the aspirin in the glass of water when he was passed out on that swing set.
Yeah. Excellent stuff right there. That's excellent stuff.
Hank's like, yeah, I've been there. Here, take this aspirin, drink this water, and pull some weeds. For Christ's sake, get in the
backyard. Well, that's perfect. Well, we'll go ahead and start putting on a bow on this. So before we totally wrap up, Jack, so thankful you got to come on tonight, buddy. This has been a blast. We appreciate you taking the time. This is again, for those of you that are listening on the Spotify version of it, those guys are popping back and watching this on a video. This is make sure it's his Twitter handle is @Mailman Jack. It's pretty easy. You don't have to really
Mailman Jack 65, ain't it?
Mailman Jack 65, correct? Mailman Jack 65.
Yes.
So you can find him on there. But before you head out, Jack, are there any last words of wisdom you'd like to give everybody as we put a bow on this?
No, this has been fun. Thanks for having me on. I don't know. Life's short. Enjoy it. Today we kind of had a little reality check on our mortality, and you reap what you sow. Be good. Be a good person, and enjoy. It's great to be alive.
Yep.
Perfect.
Well said.
Well said, bud. We appreciate you being on. With that, Pete, we're gonna go ahead and let you take us on out with your final thoughts as we head on out. But Jack, again, man, thank you so much, bud. We really appreciate you. You're seriously, I'll tell you this. Besides your calves are absolutely phenomenal, but you are seriously one of my favorite people in this universe, dude. So I really do appreciate you coming on, and it's always a pleasure to hang out and just shoot the breeze at any point. So I missed you in Chicago, and so really happy
I couldn't do it.
Right, I wouldn't have remembered it either. So at that point.
All right.
It was an interesting night. I'll leave it at that. What happens at Reggie's stays at Reggie's.
Mm-hmm. That's why I said my DNA is probably no. I was kidding.
Those people at Reggie's, one of a kind. It's all good.
Appreciate you coming on, bud.
And Pete, thanks, Jack.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, that was awesome, Jack. If you don't follow Jack, you should, because he is one of the nicest, most humble guys in the world. And, he is a guy that I think it's safe to say nobody dislikes. So we thank Jack for joining us. That was incredibly awesome of him to give us his time. And we thank you for, watching and or listening as well, and giving us your time in order to watch or listen to the lunacy that we tend to provide. We are back for the year. We took a little hiatus because we had some stuff going on around, holiday season and everything else. And then after the first of the year, trying to get things aligned and everything else. So we will be back on a every other week. We'll be back doing this thing. One thing I will say, I will be going to spring training at the end of February. It's a rather short trip, but I should have some feedback to provide when I get back from there. And we have some exciting things coming up in the future too. Fidge, do you want to talk about what we've got going 2 weeks?
Yeah. So, first off, we got here before you guys. Make sure you guys give the other Tainted Glove podcasts a follow as well, at Yumper Info at the show. Obviously, the Getting Drafty pod. I remind you guys that this Tuesday night, January, whatever that date would be, I don't know what Tuesday night is, but Brian, Magnificent Stan, is going to be welcoming Svo, Yumper, King Nam, and Beef Loaf, and they're going to be doing a Sopranos draft, which should be pretty freaking epic. Gabagool, they're going to have enjoy this. So that should be pretty fun to see. That with the draft and the strategy, we know Beef Loaf's going to show up with some sort of harebrained scheme to win this whole thing by preying on multiple different audiences, so that when it's time to vote, they'll vote for him. He's a player. It's going to be dangerous. And you got obviously King Nam. King Nam's big 49ers fans will be super excited right now. And then Yupper's Foe, obviously, with the other podcast. So that's Tuesday night. Next Saturday night is the Yupper's Foe at the show. And I'm not entirely sure. That's not the special episode, right?
I don't believe so.
So that'll just be the regular Yupperts vote. That'll be next week tonight around this time. Well, when we started, around the same time. We alternate. If you didn't know this, we go one Sunday, they go one Sunday. The drafty pod, kind of usually tries to hit on Tuesday, Wednesday nights, generally with what's best for all the guests. And so they're pushing that on. As far as our show's concerned, what Pete was referencing before is we're super excited to end dry January in 2 weeks. And from 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to welcome in Floody February with our own great friend and beer connoisseur, Brewhand Luke from White Sox Twitter will be joining us. We're going to be talking, obviously, Sox baseball. We're talking baseball in general, a little college football. We're probably end up talking a little Vegas because last time I saw Luke, besides the 108 Fest, Luke came out to Vegas for you guys too. We'll talk a lot of stuff. We'll get some shenanigans going. Luke was actually he was our first unofficial guest on this show.
Guest, yes.
In our first episode, Pete accidentally shared the StreamYard link, which is what anybody that's coming on the show gets, and instead of the YouTube link. And so drunk ass Luke popped in and said, "Hey guys." So we were like, F it. Well, what's going on? And then after about 10 minutes of drunkenness, Luke left. So we're going to he'll come on the show sober, but we are going to welcome in Floody February with we're going to talk some beer. And so we'll talk a little bit about it in ourselves, but the intent is that we'll all have a couple beers that we'll have to choose from, and we'll share our beers while we're drinking them on the show. So sooner or later you get that glassy look in Luke's eye, and that's when the fun real starts. He might even play pop in the background. It'll be fantastic. But that's in 2 weeks from tonight. We're super stoked though. But again, make sure you check out the Tuesday night episode of Getting Drafty. Make sure you guys hop on next week at this time to watch the Yumper's Faux Show. They're doing Seagal versus Van Damme. Also, check out our Twitter page. We've got our Etsy store. So if you want to get some show merch, we can pretty much, if you have any suggestions, we can make pretty much anything. Honestly, I made Tainted Glove underwear. But we got hats, we got shirts, we got sweatshirts and hoodies. We've got
I believe you can make Chuck Taylor Tainted Glove.
We could make Tainted Glove shoes. Yeah, we're all over. Yeah. We're merchandising. Spaceballs, the cereal. So we're gonna so check that out. The link is on our Twitter page, though. Hop on there again. I got a hat back here. It's a trucker hat. It fits great, but and it just, we want to share with that, you guys. So make sure you guys check that out. But those are the podcasts, Tainted Glove Network. Again, make sure you give us a follow. Check out our website too, taintedglove.com. With that, now that I've done all the promotional blah blah blah, we'll hop it on over to you, Pete, and take us on out.
Yes. So I'll add one thing before I go. Some point this week, there probably will be another collector's corner because I recently got some returns from PSA, a Hank Aaron, a Willie Mays, 2 Sandy Koufax, and some other interesting things. So there'll probably be one done sometime this week. Just a matter of getting everything sealed. And Brian S., aka the Magnificent Stan, just sent a message in reference to Fidz's Spaceballs joke called Tainted Glove 2, The Search for More Money. So, but yes, make sure you listen to them. Both Brian and Yumpins Vo are absolutely killing it on their shows. And they discuss great topics. They really do. I'm really interested in the Seagal versus Van Damme because I have a definite opinion, and I'm just curious to hear what others say. So, but I will save that until their show and provide that feedback at that time.
Yes,
but
we'll give
with
that.
Yes, exactly. I'll be the judge. I'll tell you if you're right or wrong. But with that, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for taking your time. Like I said earlier, if you can go out to our Etsy site, that would be great. Also, if you can go out to obviousshirts.com, buy some shirts for cancer research with the Liam, Liam Strong, Cancer Sucks, K Cancer. There's like 4 or 5 different designs. So definitely go out there and check it out. And if you can, please feel free to donate. Like I said, cancer is any form of cancer. He has non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, but any form of cancer, it is something that I truly believe in. So please go out there and do that. And with that, just say thank you again for listening. The greatest gift you could give someone is your time, because we know that time, at some point your time ends, as we sadly heard today with someone. So thank you very much for listening. Have a great night, everybody. And with that, aloha.